Every single summer, it happens to millions of gardeners across the UK and the US. You know the feeling, right? You watch that grass, which looked so lush, green, and completely full of life in May, just start to slowly fade. By July, it's gone pale. By August, it's yellow. And by the end of the summer, well, it can look like dry, brittle straw. I know how incredibly frustrating it is. You spend good money on expensive lawn treatments, you drag out the heavy hose for hours on end, and you just wonder why nothing ever seems to work the way the label promised. It's completely disheartening. But what if I told you it really doesn't have to be this way? So let's dive into this. What if the real secret to keeping your grass genuinely green through the absolutely hottest, driest summer is actually a completely homemade formula? Today, I am sharing a complete, practically free recipe that works beautifully with the biology of your lawn rather than fighting against it. I'm going to give you every ingredient, every ratio, and every single step. And I want to plant a little seed of curiosity for you right now. The fifth and final ingredient in this formula is something almost every single one of you already has sitting in your kitchen right now. It literally costs pennies. And what it does to summer-stressed grass is something no commercial product I've ever seen can match consistently. Stick with me because I'll reveal exactly what it is in just a few minutes. But first, to understand why this formula works so perfectly, we really need to correct a huge misconception. Your grass doesn't actually die in the summer heat, it goes into dormancy. It's this brilliant survival mechanism developed over millions of years. When it gets too hot, the grass simply pulls all its moisture and nutrients down deep into the roots, and it allows the visible blades to turn brown just to protect the crown. The roots are alive and well, just waiting for the rain. The real problem is that almost everything we've been taught to do in the summer completely disrupts this incredible natural protection. See, most commercial treatments actually work against your grass. Heavy watering, that encourages shallow roots that just dry out faster. High nitrogen fertilizers force the grass to push out green top growth right when it's desperately trying to conserve its energy. It builds this horrible, endless dependency. So the absolute crucial point here is that our natural formula works completely differently. It actively supports the grass's natural biology, it feeds the living soil, and it builds genuine, deep resilience that drastically reduces moisture loss. Okay, let's get into the recipe. Ingredient number 1, liquid seaweed extract. Now, I want you to think of this not as a conventional fertilizer, but as the absolute foundation of this entire formula. It doesn't push unsustainable, stressful growth the way synthetic nitrogen does. Instead, it fundamentally changes how your grass responds to the stress of intense summer heat. And the science at play here is just fascinating. Seaweed extract contains these natural plant hormones, particularly something called cytokinins. These brilliantly delay senescence, which is just a fancy scientific term for the natural aging and browning process of the grass blades. These hormones essentially signal to the grass that the growing conditions are much, much better than they actually are. So rather than panicking and turning brown, your grass stays visibly green and active significantly longer during a drought. It's literally moderating the plant's natural stress response. And preparing it is beautifully simple. You just dilute 1 part seaweed extract to 30 parts water. Apply it evenly using a simple watering can or a sprayer, but always, always do this in the early morning or evening, never in the midday sun, or you definitely risk scorching the blades. Repeat this every 3 weeks, starting in June. Used consistently, the alginic acid in this single ingredient acts as a powerful natural soil conditioner, improving the microscopic structure of the earth so it holds on to precious moisture so much longer. Moving smoothly along, ingredient number 2, Epsom salts, or magnesium sulfate. If the seaweed builds resilience, well, the Epsom salts are specifically responsible for making that beautiful green color dramatically more intense. Magnesium is the absolute central atom of the chlorophyll molecule. Just let that sink in for a second. Every single green pigment in your grass depends entirely on magnesium to exist. During the summer, soils get heavily leached by watering, which creates a magnesium deficiency that turns your grass a pale, sickly yellow. Applying dissolved Epsom salts quickly and directly fixes this deficiency, literally transforming that pale yellow into a rich, saturated, deep green within just 5 to 7 days. The recipe here is incredibly straightforward. Just dissolve 2 tablespoons of Epsom salts in 10 liters of water and apply it evenly across the lawn. You're going to want to do this every 4 to 6 weeks. Now, while this works absolute wonders for color, remember that Epsom salts are not a complete fertilizer on their own. They really rely on the other ingredients in this formula to provide the full, robust summer protection your grass needs. And hey, just a quick reminder, the most surprising, incredibly cheap ingredient is still coming right at the end. But before we get there, let's look at ingredient number 3, unsulfured blackstrap molasses. This is an invisible but completely transformative ingredient that works its magic entirely beneath the surface of your lawn. We really have to remember that healthy soil isn't just dirt. It's a living, breathing ecosystem filled with millions of bacteria and fungi. And those microorganisms, they are absolutely desperate for carbon to survive. This cheap, simple molasses provides a rapidly available carbon source. When you feed the soil biology directly, they improve the soil structure, they break down thatch, and they drastically increase the soil's ability to hold on to moisture. Lawns with healthy biology green up incredibly fast after a drought. To apply it, you simply dissolve 1 tablespoon of unsulfured blackstrap molasses in a little warm water just to help it melt, and then mix it into your 10-liter watering can. Apply this just once a month through the summer. It is incredibly easy to find at a health food shop or grocery store. It's very cheap, and honestly, 1 small jar goes a very, very long way to feeding that living earth beneath your feet. Next up, ingredient number 4, diluted coffee. Specifically, we are using your leftover brewed coffee. We use this because it provides a gentle, consistent background nutrition without ever forcing that dangerous, stressful growth push you get from synthetic nitrogen. Now, here is a truly fascinating fact for you. If you live in an area with hard water or alkaline soil, nutrients like iron and magnesium literally get locked away, where the grass roots just can't touch them. Coffee provides a mild acidity, a pH of around 5 to 6, which gently restores the perfect balance, unlocking those vital nutrients so your grass can actually feed. Plus, it supplies a wonderful, gentle dose of nitrogen, potassium, and magnesium. Just save your leftover brewed coffee, but please, no instant coffee here. It just doesn't have the same biological benefits. And dilute it, 1 part coffee to 5 parts water. Apply this mixture once every 2 weeks. Now, I want you to take a breath and get ready, because the ultimate, most anticipated secret ingredient, the one that costs pennies and is already sitting in your kitchen right now, is up next. I know exactly what you are thinking. Plain sugar on a lawn? It sounds completely wrong, doesn't it? It sounds like a guaranteed recipe for a massive insect invasion. And honestly, 10 years ago, I would have completely agreed with you. But the actual horticultural science behind this is absolutely compelling, and it completely dismantled my skepticism. Ingredient number 5, plain white sugar. Yes, plain white, everyday granulated sugar. I am genuinely astonished at how powerful this penny-cost item is for helping grass survive brutal summer heat. And here is the pure science of why it works. When you apply a dilute sugar solution to your soil, you are feeding the soil bacteria so quickly that their populations can actually increase tenfold in just 48 hours. As they rapidly multiply, they produce compounds called polysaccharides, which are these sticky web-like molecules. They also stimulate fungi to produce a glycoprotein called glomalin. Together, these substances physically bind the soil particles together, creating a literal underground web that traps and drastically retains precious summer moisture right at the root zone where it's needed most. You aren't feeding the grass, you are feeding a thriving underground ecosystem. All you need to do is dissolve 2 tablespoons of plain white sugar in 10 liters of water and apply it to the lawn in the evening when microbial activity is at its highest. Do this every 3 weeks. I promise you, this single, simple, incredibly inexpensive ingredient will fundamentally change how you think about lawn care forever. So, let's bring this all together into your complete summer schedule. We want to make this highly practical and genuinely easy to follow. The seaweed extract, the molasses, and the white sugar can all actually be mixed together in the very same watering can to save you a ton of time. They play beautifully together. You just apply the Epsom salts and the diluted coffee separately on different days. If you rotate through this consistently, I guarantee that by midsummer, your lawn will look fundamentally different from anything else in your entire neighborhood. Because the truth is, a green summer lawn is not luck, and it certainly shouldn't be expensive. This entire formula costs less than a single bag of commercial chemical treatment. It is simply about understanding what your grass and soil actually need to thrive naturally. If this explainer has helped you out today, please give it a like, hit subscribe so you never miss what we discover next, and most importantly, drop a comment below telling me which of these 5 ingredients surprised you the absolute most. I read every single comment and I genuinely cannot wait to hear from you. But before you head out to the garden, ask yourself this. If the most powerful tools for growing a vibrant, resilient lawn were hiding in your kitchen cupboards all along, what other expensive gardening rules are just waiting to be broken? Happy growing, everyone!